Hi, I'm Bel Jacobs. I'm a campaigner for alternative systems in fashion and a former fashion editor. The Independent asked for your questions about how to shop for your clothes sustainably at Christmas, and here's what you asked. What the hell is fast fashion? Asked Dennis. Fast fashion is the mass production and sale of cheaply made clothing, often following the changing fashion trends. So most of what we see on the high street today is actually fast fashion. The problem is that term, cheaply made. In order to make something cheaply, you have to use the cheapest possible materials, which in this case is polyester, i.e. fossil fuels. You have to use perhaps the most cheaply made toxins to treat your fibers, again. So you have to use the least expensive, probably most dangerous chemicals to treat fibers such as cotton and leather. And then, of course, you have to pay your workers as little as possible. So you outsource labor to the poorest countries on the planet where workers have little or no protection. And then finally, for the fast fashion companies, you still have to turn a profit for shareholders. This is a problem. And the quantities are enormous. Fashion produces 150 billion items of clothing each year, far in excess of what a global population of 7.9 billion needs, and less than 1% of textiles is ever reused. Why is Christmas so problematic for you? It's not. I love Christmas, but the things I love about Christmas are community and family and being with people that I love, and it is no longer the stuff that I get. Christmas jumpers just drive me crazy. One of the most creative people I know actually goes around at Christmas with some Christmas decorations around his neck, and he looks really cool. Ariana says, fast fashion, but my clothes purchased in 2014 from Urban Outfitters have lasted far longer than your sustainable slow fashion brands. Really interesting, sweeping generalization regarding the quality of sustainable fashion, but yes, absolutely, yes. The longer you can keep a piece of clothing in action, the better it is for the planet. There's absolutely no doubt about that. At present, many items are worn only 7 to 10 times before being tossed. That's a decline of more than 35% in just 15 years. And then one study showed people throwing away 7 items of clothing a month. If that's you, stop it. The reason for that, not because we need more clothing, but because we're being encouraged by brands and big businesses to think we need more clothes. The culture of constructed desire is what drives fashion today. And as fashion activist Ursula de Castro said, the most sustainable piece of clothing is the one already in your wardrobe. So thank you for that question. Can people not tell people what to wear? People don't like to be told what to do. Anyone knows that. But we are all being told what to do all the time by advertising, by social media, by mainstream media, by influencers, by celebrities. And we rarely seek out dissenting voices and then consider their arguments carefully. And I think that's really necessary, particularly for fashion. This is about getting enough information so that you can make a choice based on knowledge. Knowledge is power. So let me hurl some stats at you about the fashion industry that may make you change your mind about this. Fashion is responsible for between 10 to 18% of carbon emissions, more than all travel combined. It's responsible for 20% of global wastewater. To produce one t-shirt requires 2,700 litres of water. 10% of microplastics in the ocean comes from textile because 70% of clothing are synthetics. Despite some progress, those further back in the supply chain, so I'm talking about cotton farmers, leather workers, factory workers, they're not being protected. This is not a great industry. Like a lot of really big businesses, fast fashion relies on the exploitation of vulnerable peoples to make profit. So the main winners, when you go out and buy loads of fast fashion clothing, are the owners of those big businesses. It takes the CEO of a fast fashion brand just 4 days to earn what a garment worker makes in her entire lifetime. These are crazy stats. When you buy fast fashion, you are putting money directly into the pockets of the extremely wealthy. This is why some of the owners of these massive fashion brands own houses across the world, they own yachts, they own private jets, and I know because as a fashion editor, I got to go on some of them, and this is a crazy, crazy world. Jamie asks, since when did thrift shops become so expensive? You'll notice that, like I thought we were buying less clothing to save money and water, and now they're trendy. Jamie, you're so right, and this is something I find really, really frustrating, but we are in a system when, as demand grows, as people see that secondhand is better for the planet, prices go up. But the thrift store model is not without its problems. As the quality of our clothing has started to drop, there's more and more synthetics, it does last less and less time. Charity shops actually have to pass on a lot of the stuff that they get, and often they send them to the global south, countries that cannot recycle them effectively. But I will always advocate choosing secondhand where possible. Is renting actually better? This is a really big question. 2 years ago, a study came out saying that actually renting clothes had really high climate impacts because of the environmental costs of delivery, of packaging, and of cleaning. And of course, a clothing rental company came back and said, no, actually it's great for the planet. You know, it saves on water, it saves on energy use, and it saves on carbon emissions. And lots of rental companies are seeking eco-friendly ways to deliver their clothing, by post, by bicycle. There are also some bricks and mortar businesses which enable customers to choose pieces on foot. So Selfridges has one, my wardrobe at Harrods. The conclusion is this, that rental is great up to a point. What it mustn't detract from is that fashion, as an industry that produces a lot of non-necessary items, is really in need of a structural overhaul, a big rethink that sees less clothes made, better clothes made, clothes that can actually be returned to the earth if necessary, and farmers and workers paid properly, because they're not being paid properly at the moment. There's no alternative to buying less, buying ethically produced, and then taking care of it really well. Rent sometimes for special occasions like Christmas, but battle for better. So thank you so much for this. You can find more episodes on Independent TV. Have a great Christmas.